It is Thursday, y'all. Another episode of the Late Night Vision Show. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. I tell you, there's a lot of people that listen to this show in their car. They listen on the way. They make their spouses suffer through this at night while they're in bed. We get people that call and say, hey, my wife knows y'all better than I do because she listens and has to suffer through all this just as much as I do. But I'm trying to figure out, how to find a scope. So whatever your reason for joining us, thank you. We really appreciate it. We've got a big show for you today, a big review. And to help me do that, to help me introduce the scope and introduce what we're talking about, the owner of Outdoor Legacy, Jason Robertson. What's going on, man?
Man, nothing. This is an exciting show. We're going to jump right into this, guys, because this is going to be a big show. We're going to review the Pulsar Thermion 2 XG50 laser rangefinder LRF model today. And we got a lot of things to talk about. The first thing we're going to do is a shameless plug that we do every week. If you are watching this show or listening and you have any desire to buy a thermal or night vision scope and you would like to support the Late Night Vision Show, support Hans and I and our wonderful staff here, we would love to have your business. And you can give us a call at 877-350-1818, and we would be glad to talk to you and help you decide what optic is best for you and help you with that purchase. You can go to our website if you just want to kind of look around. I know you can get there, get really confused, but at least some people like to go in there and say, hey, this is my price range. You can sort by price on the website and say, okay, at least I'm familiar with some of the names. That's fine too. You can do that at Outdoor Legacy Gear, Gear, outdoorlegacygear.com. And I tell you what, we have got a full staff that is ready to help you. Not only is there Hans and I, we've also got another salesman, Ashley, that's working with us. Super good guy, buddy of ours, longtime thermal hunter, great guy. He's there. We've got Angela. We've got Michaela in the office. These two ladies, they're the ones who really run the show. They're the ones who make sure that all of us guys stay on task and get things done. So there are 5 of us full-time here, and we're dedicated to not just helping you pick out the right scope and help you with that purchase and get it all the way to your door, but to help you afterwards. If you need help, you got questions about it, how do I zero this thing, what do I need to do, we're here for that as well before and after the sale. So 877-350-1818. We would love to have your business. We'd love to sell you this scope right here. We're fixing to talk about. Hans, I'm going to do this real quick. Yeah. I'm going to, and I say everything I'm going to do real quick is never quick, but I'm going to explain before we get into this review, clear up some confusion about the original Thermion XG50 and this scope. Also, I'm going to say this right now. Listen to this entire episode if you are interested in purchasing this scope. I'm going to give you some information that is vital, okay? We're going to do it after the specs, after the walk around. It's going to be in the middle of the show, and I need to really get in and explain something about this scope and how it's going to work, and it's very important, and it will prevent some heartache for some guys who buy this scope. So I'm telling you, super important to stick around for that. Now,
there's a lot of confusion about the XG50. I'll say
there is a lot of
because the
confusion.
new one that's come out, there's still the old one, which is unusual to have the older model even still around for sale. There's a lot of people that are calling and say, what's this older XG50? So yeah, clear some of that up because we've got to sort through some of this stuff that's going on you see online.
So the original XG50 came out when we're recording this, it's early 2023. So that unit came about 2.5 years ago. When it did, it was a groundbreaking optic. It was the first 3-power, 12-micron, 640 thermal scope on the market with all the features: video recording, audio recording, removable battery packs, picture-in-picture, Wi-Fi. I mean, it was amazing optic, and it really, really was. Great scope, but and sold a ton of them. People loved them, but it wasn't that long before even Pulsar came out with their new Thermion 2 XP50 Pro. and that scope actually had a better image quality than the XG did. So, it's just, again, newer technology. So then we had other manufacturers coming out with scopes that were really, again, newer technology. And it was amazing how a scope that, I hate to use the word maybe overused, groundbreaking, but it really was. It brought something new to the industry, but within a year and a half, there were now multiple other scopes with newer, honestly better technology, including Pulsar's own lineup. So Pulsar was basically forced to drop the price on it because, their less expensive scopes were better. And so that's kind of just, again, so way technology works. Things can move quickly. Still a good scope, but in the summer of 2022, Pulsar basically discontinued this scope, and they did sell those off, all that they had left, to a couple dealers. And we chose not to purchase them. We knew there were just so many other things out there that we thought were better, including this scope coming. And so with that said, you can still, depending on when you're watching this, you may find the old XG50 for a bargain online, but you just need to know kind of what you're getting and how that's going to compare to what's on the market now. Right. So this new Thermion 2 XG50 LRF comes around. A lot of confusion. I've talked to guys that go, oh my gosh, I can buy the non-LRF for $3,000. This LRF version is $6,000, $59.99. My gosh, I don't need to pay $3,000 for an LRF. Huge difference in the scope, guys. Yeah. So the original XG50 ran the BAE thermal sensor. That was a thermal sensor that Pulsar had never used before. They use Linred or ULIS sensors, but they were looking for that 640 12 micron. With the new Thermion 2 XG50, they went back to what they know, and that is this Linred sensor that they have used for many, many, many years. I mean, well, let's back up. Maybe forever, as long as I've ever known them. In the last 10 years, that's all they've used. So they have a lot of experience. This is a fantastic sensor. This unit is a serious upgrade to the original XG50. Okay, that's, if there's any takeaway, you need to know these are two different optics. They got two different sensors, basically, let's say different motors. All right, and also, as mentioned, there is a laser rangefinder in this unit, and the image quality is significantly better. And there's a lot of other things we're going to kind of get into, battery life and how this thing performs in poor conditions. A lot of things better about this optic. So we just wanted to kind of clear that up. Two very, very different scopes. And the original XG50 is discontinued. It is gone. You might find some floating around out there on fire sale, but those units are again, a discontinued model. Now,
you know what I tell people? People ask about buying discontinued models. And the way I explain it is, and this isn't true across the board in every aspect, but I typically say don't spend new money on old technology. And, in this case, I would say that that's 100% true. The XG50, like you said, was a groundbreaking scope, and I think it did a lot of things. This is my own personal opinion. I think it might have been one of the catalysts that lit the fire under Envision to get their scopes to include video and audio recording. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But a lot of things changed after that, I would say, in the industry. And it was good for the time that it was out. But these XG50s, the new ones, there is a big difference. Now, we're going to run through the specs. Jason's going to run through those here in a little bit. I'm going to do a walk around the scope. We're going to have what comes with the scope, what's in the bag with it. So stay tuned for all that. And, of course, all the likes and dislikes and who it's good for. And like I said, Jason's got that information coming. You need to stay on because you need to find out if this is the right scope for you or if something else might be better. But, yeah, Jason, let's run through these specs real quick.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to go through these fairly quickly, guys. Again, I know there's some of you that are listening here, and you're going to be like, man, it's too quick, whatever. Hey, you know what? You need to more help. Give us a call. Right. Again, we'll be glad to explain some of this. Some of it you're not even going to know what it means. You're like, I don't know. That's a lot of big words, but I'm gonna run through them.
Right.
So it is a 640 by 480 high resolution optic. Again, using the Linred ULIS sensor. It's a 50 hertz refresh rate. It's a 12 micron sensor, It has an NETD rating of sub 40 millikelvins. Now, I know I just said some big words there and you went, what? And we'll get into a little bit of that later on. But again, it's a sub 40 millikelvin on the can't even say it now, NETD rating. It's got an AMOLED display. It's a 1024 by 768 resolution on the display screen. It's a 50 millimeter lens. It's a fast 1.0 lens. It is a 3-power base magnification, and it does have digital zoom up to 24 power. Pulsar says it's got a detection range of a human-sized target out to about 1,900 yards. Positive ID range. Now, this is what Hans and I say, okay? So this is our range. There's going to be opinions on this. There's going to be guys that are going to, have an opinion that it's going to be much further. And honestly, with some experience and knowing your area and what you're hunting, these ranges could be further for even us. But we're trying to give a realistic, conservative range that just kind of, fits all people. And we would say 400 to 600 yards. Now, that's a big range, but I think that's realistic. I think there's some guys that pick this up that may not be super familiar with thermals, and they may get out there in the 400-yard range and be like, okay, I think that's a hog, or I think that's a coyote. But I think with some experience, getting in that 500 to 600-yard range is definitely doable, especially with that 3-power.
Right.
Battery life. All right, this is the cool thing right here. The original XG50 on our battery test had 5.5 hours with the internal battery and the removable battery. This unit on the internal battery has 6.5 hours, and on the removable APS2 battery, we got 2.5 hours. Okay. Now, again, these are bench tests. This is indoors, sitting in my office, running this thing down. So this is not running Wi-Fi, video recording. It's not 20 degrees, any of that. These are best case scenario, but it's the way we test every scope, is basically just sitting here on the desk running. So again, I want to say that 6.5 hours on the internal, 2.5 on the removable APS2. So that is 9 hours of battery life right out of the box, compared to 5.5 on a bench test on the old XG. So huge improvement there on the battery life. Also, you can purchase the APS3 battery. That's a little bit of a taller battery. And those batteries are probably going to get you another 45 minutes to an hour. So, you could be looking at 10 hours of runtime. Again, you take that in the field, you get in cold conditions, off and on, and video recording, Wi-Fi. You're going to bring that down, obviously, but it's still going to be a huge improvement over the original XG. So kudos to Pulsar on that. Moving along, field of view is going to be 46 foot wide horizontally at 100 yards. Unit weighs about 34 ounces. It's got a temperature rating of down to -13 degrees. And then just some of the features. There's so many things in the scope. I'm not, I'm going to try to list what I can. It's got, all the normal Pulsar features, which are multiple color palettes, multiple reticle colors. They've got more reticles than probably any other thermal brand Pulsar does. It includes video and audio recording. It has got Wi-Fi for streaming to their smartphone app. Also, guys, they have got a brand new app that is a ballistic calculator app. The firmware is not available for this scope yet, but it will be. When they get the firmware out there, you'll be able to download it and update this scope. And again, if you're watching this 6 months from now, your scope will probably already have this firmware in it. But right now, in February of 2023, we're waiting on this firmware update. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to connect. Well, you're actually going to take your ballistic app that they've created. You're going to input all of your data in there, and you'll be able to connect it to the scope, upload this profile, and disconnect your phone. So you basically, again, you've uploaded all this data into the scope. And when you range an animal or a target, it will put a hash mark on the current reticle that you're using of what your holdover needs to be. So it will not change your reticle. This is important. If you're zeroed at 100 yards and you got the little reticle there, it's not going to move your reticle up. It's going to leave it right where it is, but it's going to put a hash mark up here showing you where your new aiming point would need to be. This is really, really cool. This is going to be something new. We're excited to get out and test it out. We got a demo of this from Pulsar back in the fall before they announced it. They gave us a sneak peek at it, and it looked really, really neat. So again, for the guys that are long range shooters, I think it's going to be something that a lot of y'all are going to like. I'm going to tell you this up front. I think it's going to be, you're going to need to know what you're doing. All right. So guys like me that are not long range shooters, I'm going to get in this app and fumble around and I'm going to go, I don't know what all this means. But if you're a long range shooter, then you're going to know what this is. And I think you're going to be able to get it set up. If you don't, you're probably a guy like me that needs to keep your shots under 200 yards. Right. If I can't run all the ballistics, I probably don't need to be shooting that far. Yeah. But anyway, that will be available. Yeah. Also, moving along, almost done here. Recoil rating, 375 H&H or a 12 gauge shotgun, and it is fully waterproof, submersible. Excuse me, 3 foot for 30 minutes. Multiple rifle zeroing profiles. I think 5 different rifles. Again, color palettes. It's got everything. Hans, show them what's in the box.
Yeah, and everybody's going to want to know about the laser rangefinder and how accurate it is. I'm going to say it's as accurate as how far you can hold your rifle steady on a target. How about that? That's the big thing. 600 yards. I was ranging stuff out to 600 yards. I really don't have a spot out here further than that, that I can range just from where we're at in our conditions. There's just not that many wide open spaces. But all right, what is in the, while I'm doing this, go get a peppermint or something.
Man, I'm telling you, guys, I apologize. I don't know what I've got. I don't feel bad, but I sound terrible, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, so here's the bag that it comes with. I've got all the stuff pulled out, and then we'll show the scope and go through it. So in the box, in the bag with the scope, what it comes with, you're going to get a shorter APS-2, what they say is an APS-2 battery. It's the shorter of the two. So you got the APS-2 and APS-3. The APS-3 is available for sale. It's an accessory, but it does not come with the scope. You just get that one small APS-2 removable battery. You get 2 battery caps. So the battery cap for that small battery, and then you get a taller battery cap. So if you do choose to purchase an additional battery and you want the larger APS-3, you have that available to do. You got a rubber eye cup. You see a lot of pictures on social media with these scopes without the eye cup on it. A lot of people run it without it. I run it without it. I know Jason does too on this Thermion style. But if you do prefer to have the eye cup, it does have it. It's easily removable, easy to put on. It's magnetic, so you just stick it on there. It stays on there pretty well. And so it does come with that, just so you know. You've got a battery charging base, so if you want to charge the scope, the battery in a base, if you get an extra battery, there's 2 slots in here for doing that. Obviously, it comes with the cable and the wall plug. The cable is for charging and also for hooking up to the computer if you want to download the videos directly to the computer instead of doing it through the app. You can charge this scope, though, if you want to just charge it, and not have to use the battery base. You can plug the scope into the wall and it will charge the batteries, and it'll charge both batteries that way if you do it, if you choose to do so. Okay, here's what the scope looks like. If you've seen the show, we've talked about the Thermions. It's got that traditional daytime look to it, the tube design. It's got the American Defense Manufacturing mount on it right now. This is a mount that we sell. It's right now. Well, I think we talked about earlier, the price is going to go up, but it's going to be under $250 for the mount, depending on when you watch this. So it is a QD throw lever, 2 throw levers on that. Quick release, you can take it on and off the rifle without having to re-zero it every time. You've got your buttons right here on the eyepiece. It is a focusable eyepiece diopter, so this turns, it's rubber. It turns if you're, depending on your eyes and your eye prescription eyeglasses, you can make that clear up. So the first thing you want to do is focus the eyepiece diopter, and then you're going to focus the objective lens. So these dials here on the side, one on each side. They're for focusing the objective lens, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. It makes it very convenient, the fact that there's 2 options on there. But you're going to focus the eyepiece first and then focus the objective lens. You got your, like you said, the buttons here on the eyepiece. You got your laser rangefinder button that engages the laser rangefinder. There's 2 modes. There's what I call a point and click. Basically, it's a single range option. So you click it, it ranges, and then it goes away. The other way is like a continuous scan. So the rangefinder box will stay up on the screen the entire time. Your main reticle goes away, but a picture-in-picture image shows up at the top of the screen. It's got your reticle on there for shooting, but in the continuous scan mode, that box stays on your main screen the entire time, and it ranges anything you point it at. So 2 modes, point and click or continuous scan. You got your record button. You got your magnification button. Your menu dial is on the side. This is a button that you either short press, long press, and it's got a turn wheel right here that goes through the menu for you. Plastic lens cap, spring loaded, 50 millimeter objective lens on it. I don't think I've missing anything else, Jason? You feeling good now? You ready to take over? Are you dying over there?
Yeah, trying to not cough over here. I would love to go get a peppermint, but y'all don't want to hear me talking like this the whole time.
We
so
don't.
I figured I won't.
So that is the walk around. That's what's in the box. There's a lot of questions again on how the laser rangefinder operates. I know we're showing a video. Jason gets the MVP this week. He got some great video of some hogs up close. I got some coyotes running off. I know you got some coyotes. So I know people want to see, videos of whatever animal they're trying to hunt at different ranges. So we try to get a little bit of a lot of things: hogs close up, hogs far away, coyotes far away. If you have questions, again, and you're wanting to buy this optic and you have specific questions and you didn't see it in any of the videos, you can definitely call us and we can talk about what this scope will do and what it won't do. How about that?
So I want to take over right here. You're talking about the videos, and I'm going to hope that here in just a minute, Hans, you can mark this time down here.
Oh gosh!
I want you to play a video.
Okay.
That is going to be important. About
get
what
my pen out and
this
get my
is
paper. So this is where I start making my money as executive producer. When he starts making specific demands on how the video needs to be edited, this is where I make my money.
That's a request. It's our viewers requested.
Right.
If the viewers requested, it's free. If I requested, it's that's right. Okay. So guys, this is what I was talking about earlier in the show. I want to talk about how this unit performs in poor conditions. And this is important for 2 reasons. One, the original XG50 did not perform great in high humidity, rainy, wet conditions. Again, it's just something over time we found that more thermals are doing better and better. The manufacturers are getting better at changing the algorithms, the software, the sensors are getting better. These lower NETD ratings are all helping in poor conditions. But this unit, that was one of the things I could not wait, was to see what it did in bad conditions. So when we first got these XGs in, the conditions were great. Mm-hmm. It was cold. Yeah. It was clear. It was just wonderful conditions. Right. I went out, got to test this thing, next to the XP50 Pro and, see how it looked. I was like really impressed. Like, oh my gosh, this thing is good. I'm really happy. And I knew what was coming. 2 days later, we were going to get nasty, bad conditions. And in the winter, here in East Texas, some of the worst conditions we can get, and this happens all the time. We go from hot to cold, right? Well, some of the worst conditions are when we go from cold or cool, and then we go up to warm. And it happens like literally during the day or night. It happens super quick. And so that's what happened. We went from cool, nice temperatures up into the 70s, and nasty, humid, overcast, raining, drizzling rain, just nasty. And that's what happened. And we knew this was coming. So I was like, hey, this is going to be the time. And to be honest, we had those conditions off and on for about 2 weeks, the nasty weather. So we've gotten plenty of runtime behind this scope in the bad conditions. But So what happened was, and here in just a minute, Hans is going to play this video. We don't always do this. We don't always show the very worst conditions, but we wanted to do this because we think it's important for this scope for a couple reasons. But with that said, the conditions that this was filmed in was over 2 days of overcast, no sun, high 60s, low 70s, humid, again, either raining or drizzling, nonstop, nasty, worst conditions. And when I filmed this, it was, I don't remember what the time is, and the time's probably not right, the timestamp on the scope. I don't know if I'd said it, but I know it was at night, somewhere between, 8 and 10 p.m. It was, and I wrote this down because I actually texted it to Hans, 99% humidity, 61 degrees, muggy, and it was driving rain. I'm talking about, you won't hear the audio on the clip. I'm sure Hans is going to mute that. But if you did, I'm underneath my back porch, which is a big metal roof, and it sounds like, you just can't hear yourself think. It's raining so hard. And there's hogs down there at about 220 yards. And I'm going to tell you guys, I think it looks pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. I'm impressed for those nasty conditions, what the scope is doing. I know that the former XG, the original discontinued model now, could not do that. Mm-hmm. It could not perform this well. Now, here is the important part you need to know. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to tell you this. When you take this scope out in those conditions and you turn it on and you walk outside, it's going to look terrible. Mm-hmm. Okay? Stick with me. Stick with me. And I know if the Pulsar guys are watching this now over in Europe, they're like, oh my gosh, what's he fixing to say? But I promise that this is good. So it does not look good. The image is hazy. The unit is nuking or recalibrating almost constantly. Every 15, 20 seconds. It doesn't look good. All right? But I found out what the little trick was. And this is something that I've seen in many thermals, and not just Pulsar brand, but other brands over the years. And that is when you first, and this isn't true for every thermal scope, but that works for some, and it for sure works for this one. Mm-hmm. If you will take this unit and you will turn it on and you will let the thermal sensor warm up. And I say warm up, I don't mean you got to go take it, put it next to the heater. I mean like crank the engine on your truck, let it run, let it idle, let it warm up. If you will do that for anywhere between 8 to 15 minutes, let's just say 8 to 10 minutes is plenty, and you let that thing warm up, what you will see is the timing between those calibrations or those nukes, if you have it on, auto, they're going to get slower and further apart and further apart and further apart. And what's happening is that image is getting better and better and better. If I had walked out there and turned that scope on, which I did, and looked through it, it really did not look good. If I showed you that video, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm not buying this thing for these terrible conditions. Again, in good conditions, you turn it on, walk outside, it's fantastic. I'm talking about the worst of the worst. But if you let that unit just sit there for a few minutes and let it warm up and then go out there, it's like a totally different optic. And since this unit has been out, we have sold a pile of these. It's only been out a few weeks, but we got a lot of them in. We sold a bunch. We're still selling them. And I've told guys about this. Hey, guys, I've tested this. This is what you need to do. And I've had several guys that I've talked to that said, man, you're dead on. Mm-hmm. If you turn that thing on, give it a few minutes, it's $1 million. It's great in poor conditions. So I just want to bring that up, that if you didn't give it the time, you could walk out there and think, man, this doesn't look good. But if you let it warm up, I think you'll see it looks like a brand new scope. Really, really good. Yeah. And again, that's just in poor conditions. In normal, good conditions, flip it on, walk out, you're good to go.
And I would say, and you're exactly right, Jason, but what I would also say, the same is true for all thermal scopes. So don't think, oh man, this XG, you got to leave it running for 10 or 15 minutes. You don't have to do that with other scopes in bad weather. Well, the same is true for all of them. It's just make sure when you turn it on, and leave it on, it's gonna get better. Don't just turn on and judge it within the first minute. It's like so many.
Yeah, I actually learned that trick from another thermal manufacturer years ago. Mm-hmm. That they told me, there's like, hey, listen, the problem is these scopes, once they warm up, or these thermal sensors, they will look better. And don't turn it on and judge it in the first 30 seconds. Give it again. So I've used that over time with a lot of different optics. Now, Hans, I know we want to get into the who it's good for and the likes and the dislikes. I want to do something real quick, and this is not on our script here, it's not on our notes, but I'm going to do this because it's a question we're getting asked a lot. I'm gonna see this is completely. We have not talked about this, but I want to let you to chime in and see what you think. Maybe your opinion be a little bit different. It's no secret that Hans and I love the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro. Okay, that is our personal scope. We love it, love it, love it. Great optic. Excuse me, and the question I've been getting from some guys is like, hey, man, I know the XP50 Pro is kind of the standard. I mean, that's Pulsar's pride and joy. It's a beautiful scope. How does this scope compare? Because the old XG doesn't at this point. And my opinion is this, having used them literally side by side, the XP50 Pro, which does have the sub 25 millikelvin, NETD rating.
Right.
I believe that this, which XP50 is a 2-power, this is a 3-power. I think side by side, I'm going to say, and Hans, I'm going to just throw these out. And if you disagree, I want you to say what you think. And again, whatever you think. I'm going to say this unit is 90 to 95% as good in normal and good conditions as the XP50 image quality. I think that I could make a case that especially at close distances, maybe I'm going to get a little more detail out of that XP50.
Right.
But again, I was using this anywhere from 50 yards to 400 yards, again, side by side. And I think this XG is literally on par with the XP. Again, I'll give the XP the tip of the hat, barely. But I think this unit is good. Now, when we come to the bad conditions, that's one place where, these, like the XP Pro and that sub 25 millikelvin unit is doing really, really good. I still think that this unit, I'm going to say that it's 85, maybe 90% right there, as good as the XP. Hans, I just pulled those numbers kind of thin air. I'm trying to give some, way of showing I think it's really, really close. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I would say, what most people want to know is the new XG better than the old XG, and how does it compare to the XP? And what I'll say is that, like Jason said, the XP50 Pro is now the gold standard with the Pulsar scopes, and it continues to be that way. It is, I would still say 5 to 10% a little bit better picture image than the XG, which is a fair, honest assessment of it. But the XG, the Thermion 2 XG50 is leaps and bounds better than the previous XG50, I would say. And whether that's good conditions, poor conditions, all around. But yes, and there's going to be people out there, Jason, that say, oh man, the XP50's got the better picture image. That's the scope for me. Not necessarily.
Wrong.
Because yes, picture quality is important, and that should be up there as far as one of the boxes that you check. But just as important is picking an optic with the correct base magnification for what you're trying to do.
Correction, Hans. More important.
More important, yeah.
More important is the correct magnification.
That kind of leads into,
right.
Jason, who this optic is good for, and who should be looking for this or looking for something else.
Well, I thought you were going to take that over, but
I
think this is the scope. No, I think this is going to be a scope that this is the easy one. All right, I can say this, easy. A coyote hunter. Yeah, obviously, it's got a laser rangefinder. It is the 3-power, so you got a little more magnification. I think it's clearly the coyote hunter. No question, this is going to be a scope for him. But what I am going to say is that I think there's a lot of hog hunters that are going to buy this scope because there's more 3-power optics on the market today than ever been before. It's the most popular magnification. I would say that it's by far the most popular with coyote hunters, but it's probably the most popular, or at least maybe second most popular with hog hunters. There's a lot of guys that like a little more magnification. And one nice thing about this unit is that it is a wider field of view. It's a 46-foot wide field of view, and that is wider than a lot of 384 resolution 3-power optics. So it's still a good, usable field of view. So I think hog hunters could use it too. I mean, I think if you're a coyote hunter, clearly, if you're a hog hunter, I think this is going to come down to, how far you're hunting, what magnification you're used to in your daytime scope. If you're shooting 20, 30, 40, 50 yards all the time, no, I don't think you need the 3-power, and I don't think you need the laser rangefinder. I think if you're wanting to do a little bit of both, like, hey, you know what? I may shoot some predators, but I may also hunt some hogs, and, we're going to be shooting 50, 75, 100 yards. Yeah, I think it's a great scope for that. What do you think?
I would take it a step further. I would say, yes, predator hunters, most predator hunters want to be at least 3-power base magnification for shooting at a small target like a coyote can be. I would say hog hunters that are their average shot's going to be over 100 yards, might prefer this. And the way I'm going to take it a step further, all the old people out there, old men, all old women out there hunting, like Jason, who they say their eyes aren't as good as they used to be,
like me,
like Jason. I think I'm actually 5 or 6 months older than you, but all the people out there, a lot of people call and say, man, my eyes just aren't as good as they used to be. And I feel the same way. I
want to say this before we've just offended everybody that's older watching our show. Hans is saying this sarcastically, and he literally, he told me, he goes, hey, I'm going to keep this XG50. Okay. I like the 3-power. I'm getting old. I need this little magnification more.
I'm one of those old people that
joking.
I'm one of those old people that say that my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and that a little bit more magnification is benefit. I mean, it is true. Really, we're trying to get an optic, or we're trying to put you in an optic that's going to make you more effective, more successful, going out and having more fun doing what you're doing. And there's a lot of people out there that field of view is more important, that having a nice zoomed in picture image. There's people out there that say, I like 6-power, and that's what I use on a daytime scope, and how does that translate into nighttime hunting? So, 3-power, I think, is a good all around base magnification for doing a lot of different things, and, kind of just laid out what we thought those were. But if you find yourself in a different category, again, you might have to talk through it and see what else other choices are out there for you.
So, and what I want to say there real quick before we move on to our likes and dislikes is there's a lot of guys watching this right now, and I know this because we talk to you all the time, and you say, I don't know. I've never looked through a thermal scope, or maybe I saw a buddy's. I don't know what I need, and I'm not sure what magnification I need. That's where we're here to help. When you get ready, and, like I said, if you're looking to make the purchase from us, give us a call. We can help you. If you go, I just don't know, we're going to ask you a series of questions, and we're going to be able to help you figure out if 3-power is right for you, or 2-power, or 4-power, or whatever it is. So don't worry about that. Hans, let's jump in here as we get close to wrapping this show, and let's talk about our likes and our dislikes. We always like to do the dislikes first, get the bad news out of the way. I've got a couple. I know you do. What is your dislikes? If you could make the perfect scope, there's no perfect scope yet. What would you change on this scope?
I would say the only, if you're wanting a scope that you could take on and off and use as a scanner, a lot of people that's a very popular application these days, and having a dual purpose. This is probably not the optic for you. You need to look and look at something else. This is not something that you're going to want to use as a monocular. As far as weight, these tube style scopes, not just this brand, but other brands, the tube style scopes are typically a little bit more heavy than some of the more compact scopes that you may see. So, not going to be perfect for scanning with. This is a rifle optic. That's what you're going to keep on a rifle. Yeah, you can switch them back and forth and move them, but you don't want to scan with it. The other thing is, when you engage the laser rangefinder mode, whether it be single point and click or the continuous scan, it takes away your main reticle on your wide field of view screen on your base whatever magnification you're on, but it takes away your main reticle, and it pops up the picture-in-picture display box with your shooting reticle on it. So I'd say one of the other negatives, and again, this is not something that's new for this scope. This is the way they, all the laser rangefinder models have been with Pulsar, is that it just takes away your main reticle. You can still shoot with it on laser rangefinder mode. It's not a problem. And I like shooting with the picture-in-picture box anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But it will, your main reticle goes away completely. The picture-in-picture screen pops up with another reticle in it to shoot with, but you lose that, your big reticle that you might be used to. Those are really the only two that I came up with, Jason.
Yeah, I got one small one, and I think this is just for us to be consistent. I wish that it had a non-proprietary battery pack. We're used to this in the Pulsars.
Oh, yeah.
They've always had proprietary battery packs, and they're fine. I'll say this. I mean, if I'm going to say the positive here, they're affordable. The APS-2 battery, which is what it comes with. If you want to buy a spare one, $79. You want to buy the larger one that's a little bit taller, the APS-3, they're $99. That's very reasonable for a scope that costs $6,000. They could be like these printer companies that they sell you a really, really cheap printer and then the ink cost more than the printer did, okay? They're not doing that to you. I mean, let's be clear, guys, they're not making money on these batteries, all right? By the time these things pass through everybody's hands, they get shipped from Europe to the U.S., there's no real money. I know they're doing it because, they can control the quality of the battery and they know that everybody's getting the same performance, and I understand why, but the market is moving towards non-proprietary batteries. They're moving towards generic 18650s, 18500s, some of these style of batteries. So, I mean, in a perfect world, that's what this scope would have. I get it. I mean, Pulsar has not done that. That's not, something they've been doing, and I don't know if they're going to change, but, we're going to throw that out there. But at the end of the day, again, we use Pulsar optics. It's not that big of a deal. I tell people this, that the truth is that I don't even know that I have a spare battery for my Thermion. If I do, it's probably in some bag or a cabinet or a box somewhere. These battery lives, especially if you're using a scanner, are plenty good for me. Now, I know if you're up there in cold weather up north, that can be different. You can burn through those. But I think, again, I'm going to move to the likes here. I'm going to transition this. I do think, talking about the batteries, and okay, guys, this is where a proprietary battery becomes important. All right, I'm going to change this up to a 180. That's how they've gone from a 5.5 hour battery life to a 9 hour battery life. Okay, that's how they have control of the batteries, and they're able to pack more power in there. And so I think that's my like is the very first thing, is that we've got a very, very good battery life. Again, it just continues to go up and up in these Thermions. Another thing I like about this Thermion, this unit, and all the Pulsars in general is the recoil rating. When a guy calls me and he goes, hey, I've got a such and such caliber, and it's always something larger, bigger than a 308, and he goes, whatever, insert caliber. Am I going to be able to use that on, my scope? Well, if we're talking about a Pulsar, I go yes. Yeah. Because so far, nobody, I mean, maybe somebody every once in a while, can I put it on my 50 BMG? Okay, no. But 375 H&H or a 12 gauge shotgun, guys, shotguns, 12 gauge, they got nasty, nasty recoil. I mean, it is bad. This 375H, that's a huge caliber. So I like that all of your larger calibers, you're going to be covered under. That's to me, again, I don't own any of those. I don't shoot any of those, but I like it because maybe you do. Maybe, who knows, maybe I go buy one day. You never know, but I like that because you're covered.
Right. Now, I agree, and I would say, just adding on that, the fact that with the improvements that were made, Pulsar, I think, realized and they saw the performance they were getting out of their infrared sensors, and I think, were smart to go back to it. A lot of people were like, man, well, what happened? Why are they go away from the BAE sensor and all this? And, they did it because they're, I think, more confident with their infrared sensor and the performance that they can get. And I think that they can see improvements that they can make with this and all of their optics, which they continually, they continue to do every time they come out with a brand new one. So, They did a good job on this one. This gives, for all you people that are fans of Pulsar, it gives you, and you're a coyote hunter or somebody that likes 3-power magnification like I do, it gives you an option. And before this came out, when the original XG50 was discontinued and we were kind of in this limbo waiting for this new XG50, there were some coyote hunters on social media that were just kind of trashing Pulsar and saying, "Oh, they forgot about us. They don't care about predator hunters. They don't all this stuff." Well, we all knew that this XG50 was coming out, so it didn't really make any sense. But
exactly.
But no, I mean, this was all planned. Pulsar, knew that they were coming out. We knew that they were coming out with this 3-power scope, and it's a big improvement. This is the scope, that I'm going to be using for for now on for a good while, because I do like to coyote and hog hunt, and I do like higher magnification. So it kind of checks all the boxes for me now. The laser rangefinder is a nice feature as well.
So putting a wrap on this, everything Hans said, yep, totally agree. I think that if I have to give you my overall thought on this, it's that I am pleasantly surprised out of this unit.
Right.
It is better than I expected it to be. And we did have the chance to use this again briefly back in the fall, just for an evening, doing some demo stuff with Pulsar. But it was outside. It was nice. We were able to look a couple hundred yards, but it wasn't the same. It's not the same as getting it in your hands and us going out and field testing it in good conditions, bad conditions, in between conditions, and everything, literally in the field, looking at hogs, looking at coyotes. And guys, that's what we do. Every single optic that we sell, and I can say this confidently, there's not an optic on our website that Hans nor I have not gone out, and Ashley now, have not gone out and tested. We have tested these units. We know how they perform. Anybody can go, become a dealer and stick stuff on their website, but we go out and test these because we know that's what you want to know, and we want to know. We're hunters. This is a lot of money you're going to spend, and I can tell you, I was pleasantly surprised with how this optic stacked up. Again, not just, I already knew it was better than the old XG. I'd seen enough to know that. And it was. And it did way outperformed even what I was hoping for in the bad conditions, and outperformed what I was hoping for in the good conditions. And again, as we kind of call it the gold standard, the XP50 Pro, put it up against that, and I'm like, dang, man. I mean, this is pretty dang good. I can use this. So like Hans said, it's good enough for us. I mean, we're going to be using these optics, and we really, really like this scope. So it's a good one if you're interested in purchasing this, or hey, maybe it's another optic. Maybe it's something totally different, or maybe you just don't know. I would say give us a call, 877-350-1818. Hans, Ashley, myself, we are all out testing optics all the time. We would love to have your business. We would love to make suggestions, put you in the scope that's best for you. We might refer you over to some of our other videos and things we've done in the past, some other reviews. Say, hey, if you're not sure what this scope is, go watch this review and check that out and see what you think. But again, we're glad to help. OutdoorLegacyGear.com, and we would love to do business with you. If you're looking for more great content, there's probably going to be another review pretty soon of this XG50 over on Hans's YouTube channel, and that is HANSETX, Hans East Texas. You can search that on YouTube, find his channel. You can subscribe, and again, find all of his videos, but I know he'll be doing a review of this scope soon. Hans is also over on Instagram, posting all kinds of stuff. But guys, big news, Hans is on Facebook. Grandpa got on Facebook, and let me tell y'all, it is just like if your grandpa got on there. This guy is calling and texting me every 5 minutes. He's confused. Do I do this? He can't figure it out. We got him the Facebook for Dummies book, but it's not working. So
I've made a lukewarm splash into Facebook right now. It's been very
You made a lukewarm splash.
But
if you're on Facebook, go over there and find his page and like it. It's the same thing. HANSETX. Like and follow over there so you can see all of his content. Man, Hans has got so much stuff. He's got a ton of stuff that he's posting over there. So go over there and find him there as well. And then Outdoor Legacy. We've already told you how to find us, but the Late Night Vision Show, you found us. You're here. Stick with us. That means like, subscribe. That way that you don't miss an episode when they pop up on YouTube or on the podcast app that you're listening to. You can always go to the Late Night Vision Show.com, see all the past episodes, learn more about the show. And guys, we really appreciate y'all watching this show.
So Jason, as we sign off, congratulations. This is episode 250 this week.
Wow.
So next
We
week.
didn't even talk about that.
Yeah,
250. I didn't
we were
even realize
so
we
busy
started
with
the
all
show.
the other
Wow.
stuff. But yeah, 250. So join us next week for episode 251. We've got, I think we're going off of the review segment. We're going to be talking about zeroing thermal scopes, if I remember correctly. Isn't that right? We're talking about the zeroing thermal.
I think that's right.
I think that's right.
I think that's what's on the
So
list.
a lot of people asking how to zero.
Check back next Thursday, and you'll be as surprised as we are.
Yeah, exactly right. So join us again next Thursday or any other day you find time to play these episodes. We really appreciate it. The audience is growing. The support is overwhelming. And we really appreciate all the phone calls. And when you call us and tell us that you watch the show, it gives us a little bit of a smile. People say, I know you probably get tired of hearing it, but I promise you, we never do. And our egos can afford to get even bigger. I mean, I got to grease the side of Jason's head, put butter on the side of his head to get him through the door. But it's okay.
My gosh,
he deserves it. He deserves it. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next Thursday. Stay safe in the fields and keep making them bacon pancakes.